Welcome back to the channel. We've recently received news of some upcoming cards for the Japanese Dragon Pokemon set Paradise Dragona. This set, which is set to come out on September 13, 2024, the same day Stellar Crown is actually coming out in English, is going to be one half of the set Surging Sparks, which is actually the English set that's coming out in November of 2024. So I'm super excited to show you all of these cards. There are two in particular I'm absolutely in love with, and I can't wait to show you all. I know you all are gonna love it. So without wasting any time, let's get to it. Alright, so before we actually get to the brand new cards that have come out in the past few days, I just wanted to mention some cards we've seen a couple weeks back, including this Latias EX, which looks stunning for EX. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of regular EXs, but this one is definitely a beautiful artwork. And personally, I love the Latias because they were featured in the film back in the early 2000s. It focused primarily on Ash and Latias, but there was also a Latios, and I personally love the Latios. And next up we have Alolan Exeggutor. As you'll notice, because it's Alolan, and you know, the one with the long neck, it actually is a dragon type as well. It's not just because of its Terra type or Stellar type, you know, it actually is a dragon type. And third up, we also have this A-Spec, which is supposed to be translated to Rich Energy. But yeah, I'm not absolutely certain as to the playability of it all. I'm personally not one who plays, but I love collecting. I love checking out the market. So just wanted to show y'all this card in case you play, in case this is important for y'all. Just pay attention to the little title right here. I wrote it down, the translation. And yeah, so I don't want to spend too much time on these three cards. They're the Latias, personally, I love it. But yeah, let's get to the new cards that have been stated to come out. Next up, we have Exeggcute AR, the one on the right over here. This is the art rare. The reason I put this card on the left is because I actually wanted to say it's been a while since we've had a proper Exeggcute card. Actually, the card that I've listed on the left here is a secret rare from Plasma Blast, and it is one of the more valuable cards in that particular set. And so that was in the black and white era. After that, we've had X and Y, Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield, and now we're on Scarlet and Violet and finally getting another Exeggcute card. I personally think this is a very simple card, but it is quite lovely. I love sports. I'm a super athletic person. I have loved every type of sport I've ever touched, and so this card is super beautiful. I love how there's so many activities here. We have basketball, tennis, we have skateboarding. I'm not quite sure what the sock is. And then we also have a roller skate. So very cool. And so we can see that this is taking place on a Pokemon basketball court. And I love the little detail with the palm trees in the background. Who knows, maybe they're even Exeggutor, Alolan Exeggutor. And uniquely, they've actually split up all of the eggs, so it makes it a little bit more spaced out and nice. Next up, and this is probably the one that more of y'all will be interested in seeing, this is the Exeggutor, Alolan Exeggutor SAR. A really unique card, I think. This one looks like it's been colored in with pencil colors, like some sort of Faber-Castell or maybe even Prismacolors, who knows, but it has that very penciled in effect, which I think is quite unique, and I like the way the artwork. You know what, Alolan Exeggutor is not my favorite Pokemon, but they definitely did a good job with this. I like the way that it bends around and you can see the happy face. The crown actually looks like it fits for once. I'm not a big fan of the crowns in the Stellar or the Terra types, but it looks pretty cool in this case. And I love the little specks of color. I love how it's dancing and there's literally energy spewing out from where it's standing. A very cool artwork, and it almost looks like this is taking place on the exact same pitch, or rather the exact same court where the Exeggcute were. Perhaps it's actually the very one that evolved, and so you could even see this as a story card. Truth be told, it likely is. So it's very cool in that sense. We're seeing the progression of the Exeggcute to Alolan Exeggutor in Stellar type. And if you all remember from Sun and Moon during the tag team era, we had this card over here, the Alolan Exeggutor, the tall one, and then there's a little Rowlet. I'm not sure if y'all can see it, but it's super tiny, and it's a very funny juxtaposition in this card where you have a gigantic Pokemon, and then you have a teensy-weensy one over here. So yeah, I like the way that they generally are able to play to Alolan Exeggutor's strengths. In this case, Alolan Exeggutors generally happy Pokemon. In Sun and Moon, when it meets Ash, Ash is absolutely terrified when he first comes across a bunch of them. Then he actually realizes they're a friendly and playful creature. Except for the tail, you watch out for the tail because it'll smack you down if you get close to it. But yeah, so these cards are really, really cool in that sense. But now we're going to move on to the next card, and I know y'all are going to love it. But yeah, let's move on to the next few cards. Now, I just have a bunch of the EXs and the A-Spec bunched together. These are some other cards. One is going to be this Flygon Stellar type. Next is going to be the Arch-Aludon EX. I personally don't mind this Arch-Aludon EX. I like it. It's simple. I love the blue. Y'all know blue is my favorite color. I love all the cards that take place under the sea. And I love the navy blue that accents this Pokemon. And then we also have this Megaton Blower A-Spec for the game. Not too much to say about this, but y'all know it. 2 more dragon types right here for this set. I'm excited to see what other altars they come up with. I hope they actually showed there's going to be a Flygon altar. That would be insane, but we can only hope for now. But we have 2 more cards to take a look at, and let me tell you, these are the star of the set for now. And I think these are going to be highly desirable cards, both in Japanese and in English, and particularly for collectors who love the story cards. First up, I'm going to talk about the Latias SAR, a gorgeous card, very, very beautiful. Honestly, when I first saw this card, I thought, you know what, kind of plain. I thought, you know what, it's kind of plain for Latias, especially looking back at the Tag Team Sun and Moon card. It is basically the Moon Brionne of the Sun and Moon era, this gorgeous card, which features this beautiful, heartwarming scene between Latias and Latios, forming a heart between them, holding hands or barely touching their hands over this beautiful sunset. I would say it's a sunset because of the deeper orange color. And it reminded me so much about the Pokemon movie between Latias and Latios, the last scene. Don't spoil too much, but there is this gorgeous scene between them, and I loved it, and it just gave me that nostalgic kick again. But yeah, so when I get back to this SAR, it looked a little bit plain, but it definitely had a ring of that alt art, but not the same punch. But then I noticed something as soon as I saw the next card, and I realized this was actually a continuation, or perhaps a moment before, or after, or perhaps this was a moment before or time before in these 2 Latios and Latias's day, because this really does resemble it. The town, the lighting, we see it right here, very, very similar, y'all. And so this actually looks like the town in the movie, to be honest. It might not be it exactly, but it definitely has that vibe of the waterborne city. But yeah, let's move on to the next card, and you'll understand why I changed my mind in an instant. This is the Latios Art Rare, not SAR, but again, gorgeous card. And you'll notice we're seeing the edge of the town again. We're seeing this lighting. We're seeing this gorgeous sea, looking like it's connected to this artwork still, that sort of lighting, this similar situation. And you know what? They're connected, y'all. They're connected artworks. They look insane together, which I'll show in just a moment. But one thing I want to note about this card is it's actually sort of like a progression with the Latioses and the Latiases. So first we had this Latios Mega in X and Y, which was a huge, cool dynamic. It was an amazing, refreshing change in the Pokemon animation, in the stories. We had a new mechanic that was entered in, and it was really game-changing. And it made the show so much more exciting and it had a kick to it. And then come to Sun and Moon, after moving on from these mega beautiful full art cards, we had another incredible shock, these tag team cards, and particularly the Latios and Latias became the most popular card in the entire Sun and Moon era. A gorgeous, gorgeous artwork that definitely does not need much explanation. Everyone can see it and everyone loves it. But now that we've moved on from megas to tag teams, we have a new thing. We have story cards, and this is the connected artwork. And in my opinion, this artwork is actually a bit of a nod to that tag team card, because we have a similar setting. We have the water, the ocean, we have that similar sunrise, sunset, and this definitely looks a lot like that place in the movie where the actual town acts as a setting for the entire plot. And I particularly love the rainbows that sort of jet across. This is obviously just the gloss on the card that the rainbow effect comes from. I don't think it's actually part of the artwork itself, but it definitely complements it. And if it's in the card, then more to say for its beauty. And now that you see it together, my personal opinion is, if you take an individual card, I like the Latias AR better. If you look at it in a connected sense, then I like the special illustration rare a little bit better. But yeah, both of them are gorgeous cards. I'm certain they will be the chases because of how popular Latios and Latias have proven to be in the past. And I'm super excited to see what else this set has to offer, both in terms of the Supercharger Breaker, which is the second half of the set Surging Sparks, and what else they're going to release for the actual Paradise Dragona set. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a lovely day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.